All right, so in the first session, we're going to learn about Undefended Combat. The combat system in the Lord of the Rings, the card game, is a little bit more complex than most systems. You don't just compare attack and defense. And so we're going to start off with the very basics of Undefended Combat. So what we want to do is go through the encounter deck, the enemies, and find all the cards that have the word enemy on the bottom and pull those out and separate them. Okay, do that now. Okay, so next what we're going to do is for each player, just pick one of the heroes. Doesn't matter which one, but just pick a hero. Now, just to let you know, you will probably find that Undefended Combat isn't going to work so well because you're undefended. Gimli, let's find Gimli. Gimli is actually the most powerful one, as you might expect, because he has a special power here. But we're just going to see how it works and what the mechanics are. So just choose any hero. All right, so for this first training mission, we're going to ignore all of these instructions down here, and we're just going to talk about the attack itself. And so go ahead and take the encounter cards and shuffle them. Now the other thing that you want to do is you want to get out your damage tokens and just have them to the side. All right, so off the top of the encounter deck, turn over one of the cards. And do that for each of the characters. We're not going to go through the whole way that actually happens. But for each character, make sure you've got an enemy that they're supposed to fight. And put the card right above that hero character, and we call that engaged. So the enemy is engaging the hero for an attack. Okay, so go ahead and do that. All right, so let's walk through the battle combat type of sequence. Now, in Lord of the Rings, the card game, like we said, we don't just compare attack and defense. The characters can only either attack or defend. They can't do both at the same time. Enemies will do both at the same time. So, Lord of the Rings, the card game, has the concept of exhausting in order to defend or to attack. So you turn the card sideways, and that's what it means to exhaust a card. So here we're not going to do a defender because we've only got one player. So we're going to be, that's why we're saying this is undefended. So now we've got a card here. In my example, I have this forest spider. And if you'll notice, both of the character and the enemy cards have three different icons over here. The very top one is used for the quest. This is the threat indicator for the enemies. Attack is the middle one, and then your defense is the bottom one. Underneath that is this red colored thing, and that's the hits that you can take. Same kind of thing for the player cards, but the very top one is your will, is what they call that. And so again, that's used for the quest. Okay, so in this case, the combat is fairly simple. The enemies always attack first. They have this, so the spider has an attack of 2. Since it's undefended, Legolas cannot defend against it, and so he is going to take 2 hit points of damage. Now, once that is done, that ends the enemy's attack. Now, the character, the hero, can attack the enemy. So, Legolas has an attack of 3, but enemies can defend. So the enemy has 1 defense, so he attacks with 3, minus 1, so the spiders have 2 hit points. Now, that would end the combat phase for this round. So you'd actually go through another round before you could attack again. But that's how we're going to work it now, as if we're doing another round. And so what is going to happen is the spiders on the second round will attack again. They have an attack of 2. Again, he cannot defend, so he gets 2 damage points, and he is defeated. So since Legolas is defeated, he is immediately removed from play and put into the discard pile. Okay, so one training method you could do is just to take a hero and randomly turn over the different enemies and try to do the undefended combat and see what happens. So try different enemies and just practice it by putting random enemies over and seeing how well that they can defend against each of the different enemies for the different heroes, both the red ones, green, blue. So give that a try.